Love that blues. Let's do this video. I'm getting ready to go do a little bit of gold mining. Gold dredging with my wife. We do it every year. We go maybe 4 or 5 times a year, not a lot. Mostly I'm from Iowa, so there isn't a lot of gold here, just flour gold. You're lucky if you get a few specks, but we do it just for socializing and fun. We started out with this. It's a RDH sluice. They're still in business. I think we bought this like around 10 years ago. And they were pretty reasonable. I think it was around $160 for, this is a 3-foot long by 10-inch wide sluice, and then it came with this little header box here where you could hook an electric pump up to it. Came with a small electric pump for cleaning up, and a flange. This unscrews and comes right off of the sluice, and you can put a flange so you can just set it in the creek. That's how we first started out. And over the years I've done a little bit of revamping. The older we get, the less we like to shovel. So this year I did a little more revamping. Little background, here's the flange that bolts on. That's what we started out with. You just set it in the creek, the water flows through the front, and you shovel rocks in. You know, we got a little bit, a few specks here and there, not much. My second progression, or second couple years later, we built like a header box. This took the flange off and made this homemade thing here with spray bars, and it had a screen that slid into this slot here, so the rocks, with this we had to shovel too. We dumped the rocks on top of the screen so it filtered, because we didn't want them running down the sluice box to filter out all the larger rocks. And what we did, we used this small Harbor Freight, and it worked great. Pumped the, it's a 2-stroke though, and you have to fill it up with gas every at least half hour. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but we had fun and it worked great for quite a few years. And it was cheap. You know, you could spend thousands of dollars on some of this stuff if you go out and buy it. With this setup, we found a lot of agates. Could shovel a pile of rocks on top of the screen here, and the water sprays out of these PVC pipe with holes drilled into it, maybe about 1 inch apart, all the way down along the sides here. And the pump, of course, with a hose hooked on with these connections you can buy at like at your Tractor Supply implements. And you want to have these because it just makes it so much easier when you get out there to hook all your hoses up, and then you can turn the water pressure down. And this is all just a homemade thing. It's lasted for quite a few years with just these plastic zip ties holding it on. Nothing too complicated, pretty easy and simple, and it was cheap. I bought this is like I bought this at the farmer implement store too, the bucket, and just cut a few holes and worked out great. These 2-stroke motors are real light and easy to carry around. The disadvantage, they're real noisy. and they run out of gas quick. So, and you have to mix the oil. There's kind of how it looks with the, it's just a piece of expanded metal that we rigged to slide inside that slot and dump the rocks on. And then that bolted right to the where these screws were. See those two old glass milk bottles there? They're full of agates. I just wanted to quick show you that. Those are the agates we got over the years. So what this originally came with was with this the Riffles. Let's go on here. And they just have a hole that goes through the side, and you can lift it up, and then it clamps on. And it had a cheap piece of vinyl matting up front, maybe about to this first rifle. And then the rest was this cheap carpet that you could probably buy at the hardware store. But it worked. We got a little bit. Like I said, this was about 160 bucks 10 years ago. I think they're up around a couple $100 you can buy all this, which isn't bad. It's pretty reasonable. And that comes with the stand that it sits on. At least mine did. You can go to their website, RDH, or go on to eBay, and there's other companies that sell them too, maybe cheaper, but at the time this was real reasonable, and they're all pretty much built the same. So last year we went to a Dredge with this little baby 1-inch Dredge nozzle. And last year we got more specks of gold than we've ever got in the past years, just with this little baby nozzle here. 1 inch. And a few other modifications that I made. We took out the carpet and we put in a rubber rib matting that I bought on eBay. Put that on first, and then you put the miner's carpet on. Bought that off of eBay. I think the matting was like 20 bucks, and this might have been, it might have been around $20, but it's kind of expensive, but it's worth it. It did catch more gold. And over top of that, you go with some expanded metal. I'll put it all together and show you what it looks like. I did a little research this year, or actually last year, is what's helping us catch a little more fine gold, because that's all that's here. But if you want to read, just Google Popandson fine gold recovery. And I did a lot of reading, and it explains a lot. I tried to build this as close as I could to this Popandson. They did a lot of testing and figured out how to catch fine gold. First thing I had to do is put some flat pieces of aluminum under here, enough to raise that about 5/8 of an inch, so all of this carpet and rubber matting and expanded metal could all fit underneath that. And all the screws will go in the same holes that were there. So your rubber matting goes on first, and that just slides up underneath that lip. And you definitely want this on first, because if you don't have this, your gold's going to go right through the carpet and then out the bottom of the sluice. So you want this rubber matting on here. And over top of that, of course, your miner's moss, and that'll slide. I made it so it slides right underneath that lip there, on top of the vinyl or the rubber matting. I guess rubber matting works a little better than the vinyl because the vinyl's so smooth and the rubber's a little more flexible, soft, works a little better to catch the gold, in my opinion. And if you read the Popandson, the way they do it, you start off with your larger expanded metal. This is, I think this is 1-inch expanded metal. That goes on first, and then gradually you want to go smaller. And you go with the 1/2-inch expanded metal. This 1-inch is hard to find. This, one thing I want to explain, this is directional. I don't know if you can see that, but the high side goes up top. You see there's where the expanded metal is welded on top, and then it goes underneath the next one. So it's top, underneath, as you go down. So you create a riffle. When the water's flowing, it creates like a riffle through here to catch the gold. That's all this is. I bought at a paint store for your rollers to remove excess paint. That fit in there really nice. And then you want this is just stucco, expanded metal. You can find it in the stucco at your hardware store, the stucco department. But I just put this in. That goes partially underneath this 1/2-inch. This goes on the bottom. This is how I did it last year, and we did catch more gold than we've ever caught. More fine gold. So as you can see all together, with the rifles connected, we're going to be using a pump, so there's going to be a lot of water flowing through there. You can see all the places where gold could get caught, mostly in the carpet. But it starts up here at the larger 1-inch expanded metal, 1/2-inch expanded metal, down to 3/8 to catch your real fine gold. And we did this last year and it did work. We used this setup with the 1-inch. Now this year I revised it again, and we're going to go, we were just pumping it with the 1-inch, so we were getting about 1/2-inch size rocks running down through here. You don't want large rocks running because it'll knock out your fine gold. So you want to filter it as much as possible. With this 1-inch, we didn't have to worry about it. I had a wire running through the center there, so this thing never clogged up. And we were only getting about, just 1/2-inch at the most rocks running through, so we could run it right into this little header box here. I just hooked the pump up to this. Another addition I did towards the end of last year, which was a great improvement, I bought another Harbor Freight 4-stroke. And we just fill it up once, and this thing would last pretty much all day long. And it was real quiet. Could run at about half speed with this 1-inch nozzle here. This is just the 212cc 4-stroke. I think I bought this on sale for $160, so if you go out and buy those high pressure pumps, they're around $500, $600. And we just used this alongside the crick, so it worked fine. I was kind of worried that it wouldn't work, but it had plenty of power to pump. with this 1-inch size nozzle right here. But take a look at Harbor Freight. It's the 2-inch pump. 2-inch clear water pump, 212 cc. You don't have to mix the oil. It's quieter. The disadvantage, it is a little heavier, but 2 people can easily carry it. So what you have is your 2-inch suction hose, which goes into the crick. It sucks the water in. First you want to prime it. We're going out with the GPAA May 15th, so I'm going to show all this, everything running. I put a T on so we can dig a hole. We can either go right in the crick or dig a hole, and we hook just this cheap flat hose on, and we pump water into the sandbar. Dig a hole into the sandbar, pump water into it, and then we suck out with the nozzle. This is my new, I went with 1.5 inches this year, so we'll be able to suck up a little bit more material. It's still small, but it's good enough for us. Probably jump it up maybe to a 3-inch next year, but I don't know if this pump will work. That's another reason I just went with 1.5 inches. And we'll see if it works. We'll do another video. Instead of spending $600, you know, this is only $160. Another thing I got was this Honcoop. It's from Honcoop High Banker Company. You can Google that and find them on the internet. They have a lot of neat products. But it's a Nozzle Guard. It's made for a 2-inch nozzle. This is 1.5 inches, so I had to get a piece of PVC pipe, the threaded one. It fits right onto that. I bought that at Home Depot, and then I had to drill a couple holes because you can slide it up or down to allow less smaller size rocks to get in through there, but I think this is going to be about right. Around here, the creek that we go to anyway, where we're going to go with the GPAA, it's kind of muddy and sandy, so this, I'm hoping it'll dig down into the mud and rocks and suck up the good stuff. We'll try it out, see how it works. Kind of show you how these quick disconnects, you know, you just put them on and then pull them back and you're ready to go. That's how easy it is. Of course, this suction sucks the water in from the crick, and then it'll pump out to the nozzle, which goes around, and it'll come into my 1.5 inch inside diameter hose. All the good stuff, the rocks and the mud and everything will be coming out this into an 1.5 inch hose, and that'll go to the sluice box. And the new header box that I built this year, I'll show you that. This winter I did it. This was a plastic bed frame that I got from my neighbor. He was throwing it out. So what I did is I made a header box out of it. It's just plastic, real lightweight. Here's the front, which I put up high. So I'll put it on and you'll be able to, it'll be easier to see what's going on here, but it's real easy to make. These were the original corners for the bed frame that holds the corners together, so I just use those. If you wanted to, you could, I think they sell like vinyl fencing that's similar to this plastic, and if you can figure out how to put it together, the corners, using some bigger washers, so it don't pull through the bolts to hold it all together. I think that would work. On the back side, I just used a piece of flat aluminum and bent it around and bolted it to the sides, but there's this will be the front. The sides, I put some angle aluminum on the sides to bolt it down to my header up here. I'll put it together and show you what it looks like. Because all I did up here was pop rivet a piece of angle iron onto the little flaps, these flaps here, so my box will set right on. I pop riveted it to the box will fit right on these angle irons on both sides. I made it long enough to hold the box, and then I bolted a couple larger pieces of angle iron onto the sides here and drilled a hole so I could put some wing nuts and a bolt to hold it down, so I could wing nut that on. It comes right off real easy and goes on and comes off real easy. I'll show it, I'll put it on right now. Okay, there's what that looks like. It's just bolted on, a bolt and a wing nut on the bottom. It sits right on. Real nice. There's the front. I'll walk around slow to let you see it. So what I did was I put a piece up high for the front and then a piece of plastic down lower for the back, and then I just put that sheet metal, piece of aluminum sheet metal. So when the water comes in, my hose will be coming from the nozzle. I might drill a hole through here and then run the hose in through this hole so it shoots in. And so the reason I built this was so the wife likes to find the agates, so we'll have our dredge pumping into this box. And then what I did was I bought a grill. I think it was like $6. It's got about 1/2 inch by 1/2. So we won't be letting anything bigger than a 1/2 inch go into our sluice. And I bought these, let's see, I bought these hooks right here. It's like a double hook. And I just clamped them around the end here so I could hook it to the back. I'll hook that on now and show you what it looks like. So there's what it looks like. We'll have our hose going through here, shooting the rocks onto the screen, and then they'll fall out the front here. The wife can watch and scrape the rocks out, and there's kind of how the back looks, where it just hooks on the back. And pretty simple. So in about 3 or 4 weeks, I'll set this all up and we'll see how it works. I'll put it on video for the GPAA meeting. Go get some gold. Thanks for watching. Be safe.